Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Linda C. Jung from Fulbright University, Vietnam, and I'm here to moderate this panel with our two directors today. So, could I ask you to introduce yourselves, starting with Emily?
Yeah, hi, my name is Emily. I directed the animated short film Conductor's Crescendo, which I did during my time at Cal State Long Beach. This is my second time with Viet Film Fest. Last year, I was able to attend from my friend's short film Peace Offering, and it's really great to be back.
Thank you. Okay, how about Dong?
Okay. Hello, my name is Trống from Calorie Animation. I am the director for the short film Zombie Magla, and this is my first time in Viet Film Fest. Uh, It's nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you both for being here today for this panel drawn to the screen. So, okay, I have a couple of general questions. So I'll ask a few of those first. And then, depending on the flow, I may ask individual questions here and rotate between the two of you. But at any time, you can also, raise or stop me and raise your own hand or ask each other questions as well. Okay, so the first question that I'll ask for the both of you is regarding the theme of themes that I saw across your films and also across the panel, the set of Drawn to the Screen. So I noticed that um, a lot of these films here were really interested in crossing gaps or bridging misunderstandings, such as between family, friends, or languages, generations, between oceans, between maybe even expectations and current reality. I think that might relate a lot to Conductor's Crescendo. And also between idea, like bringing idea to the animated screen. So thinking about these kinds of like bringing things to life or kind of crossing those kind of gaps, I'm wondering how you imagine your films or see your films addressing these processes between bridging and crossing. And if you want to back up also, what were you interested in pursuing through your film project when you first began it? So yeah, Emily, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I can start with that. So, in terms of like bridging or crossing gaps between like Vietnamese like heritage and like my film, um, my character isn't like outright said to be like Vietnamese or Asian, but I've always kind of imagined him to be.
Mm,
And with conducting, he's like a conductor and everything. I kind of envisioned that it's not like a traditionally pursued like field in like a Vietnamese culture. So I kind of
mhm,
wanted that to reflect like my own like journey with pursuing art and kind of
mhm.
going down an unconventional route, and
Yeah.
pursuing something that you love, even if you're not like, even if it's not something that your parents would like inherently like support, and even if you're not like inherently like talented at it. So yeah, my character is definitely like not a talented conductor, but he tries to pursue something like out of passion regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. How about Dong? How about you?
Yeah. Talking about gap, and I see some
Yeah.
really gap in the generation. Like for now, the Generation G, they have
Hmm.
a big gap between the previous generation. Like people don't really understand what is going on inside the Generation G's stand. So
Hmm.
so that's a big gap, and
Hmm.
also I find out that people don't really get the pressure that the young generation have facing every day. So because
Hmm.
they always say that the generation G is like have everything, like a good environment, a good education. Why you act like that? So
Hmm.
and I want to make a film, a short film, and after that a bigger movie to
Hmm.
to try to show people um, the that generation G has something more than what just on the surface.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And both of your answers just now, I sort of see a commonality already. And thinking about like you mentioned parents, Emily, right? And kind of maybe parents are not necessarily supportive of a particular journey through art, right? And then Dong, you're talking about like the lack of understanding between like the generation and especially
Yes.
the Gen Z and older generations as well, and trying to bridge that gap. It was really fascinating for me. And hopefully I can continue asking it along these veins. One thing that I noticed for both of your films is that you really go into sort of an imaginary space, right? Or it can, or maybe it's facilitated by genre. Sometimes it's facilitated by the animated form, right? So with Emily's film, Conductor's Crescendo, I noticed that. I guess I'll go into this question. I noticed that there was a lot of uh, kind of a theme of magic, right? And I think this is mentioned in the description, but even just watching it, I really got that sense, like the magical baton, right? A conductor's baton becoming a wand almost, right? And even the fantasy sequence looking a lot, allowing the student conductor or this young conductor to control the music and even the weather and different kind of elements. So I'm kind of wondering how you felt about magic and animation working together. I mean, one thing that I noted, just a personal note, is that um, your film is very musically is oriented around the music, right? The music is a very important part of that. So I was wondering if you were thinking about the music, the score, together with this sort of fantasy and magical theme. It sort of reminded me of Disney's Fantasia. That was just on the top of my head. But
Mhm.
you don't have to address that. I'm just wondering how you think about animation, magic, and the music working together.
Mhm. Yeah, like that's a great question. I really enjoyed like working in animation as a medium for that. Like I think it'll be a lot harder to achieve like in the live action or like even like a
Mhm.
CGI setting for that. It really allowed me to kind of just like go ham with like the visual development and animation process for that.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of the music, I got to work with a really amazing composer. I worked with him on a previous film as well, and honestly, I just like kind of storyboarded everything first, and he kind of felt the vibe, and
Mhm.
he made the music match with it, and like I completely loved it. And then it led to like such an amazing and rewarding opportunity to work with the Cal State Long Beach Orchestra to have that like officially recorded and everything. So like that was a really great opportunity for me to like work outside of animation and like kind of collaborate with like kind of an industry that I've never like officially interacted with before.
Yeah. May I ask if you are a musician?
I'm not at
Uh,
all. I feel
yeah.
like I'm very musically challenged personally, which I'm sure might be like a little strange since I do have a film about music. I guess it's just like a
Oh.
topic that like I'm very like I admire greatly, and I
Hmm.
feel like it's very easy to show it visually, but it's not something like
Hmm.
I'm personally talented in.
Yeah. Oh, no worries. I'm not talented either. I'm just curious
Mhm.
because the
Yeah.
presence was so strong in the film.
Yeah.
So it just made me wonder.
Mhm.
Let's see. So for thinking about the music, I think then I'll transition to thinking about like form and also thinking about genre. And I think the genre is so crucial for zombie like right?
Yeah.
Or it's a very interesting starting point, right? Because you know in the title I can tell there's something about zombies, and then when I watched the film, it really exceeded my expectations of the zombie genre, right? And I thought it was so fun. But yeah, I was kind of wondering like what do you thought? What are your thoughts about genre here? Because let's say animation, I guess, is very interesting because it can appeal to a lot of younger audiences, right? Like children, and then, but then you're kind of crossing into a horror genre or horror action genre with zombies. So, I guess my question is, can you tell us more about what kinds of films or other genres were important for you, for your process, the way that you're thinking about this film? And I'll start with asking Duan this question, and then I'll ask Emily for this as well.
Um, yeah, yeah, genre is important to me. But I approach the zombie story the different way. Like first, I have an idea to tell like the in the pandemic, the COVID. So we have the time for isolation. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone outside is so scared and yeah, it's painful now there. But
Mm-hmm.
in that time, everything is so peaceful. Like um,
Mm-hmm.
the the air quality in Ho Chi Minh City is pure, is perfect. Like yeah, it's every night I just go outside and look up to the sky and see a lot of stars. It's not easy to have that kind of experience. So and I also find out that in that period of time, um, for me, for myself, like there was no kind of social pressure. So it's feel like a little bit guilty for feeling good while everybody is feeling bad. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to make that kind of feel. I want to put that kind of feeling in a story, and so I find out that a zombie genre would be kind of fit with that idea. So that's why I choose it. And I for me, my personally, I also like zombie, but the way I approach this movie is different. So
Okay. Thank you so much. I mean, yeah,
thank you.
we're online now, and it's bring us a flashback to like being online, doing a lot of discussions like this, but then also the contrast between that and the peacefulness that you're mentioning, going
Yeah.
outside, right? This big contrast. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that background because I didn't really think about the sort of apocalyptic um, sort of context and connection with that. Thank you. Um, yeah, so Emily, maybe I'll just turn the same question to you similarly. I think you addressed a little bit about this in your last answer about how you found that animation was really helpful for you to think about your story. But I guess now just expanding that a little bit, were there any other films or genres that you were thinking about or that were important for your process related
Yeah.
to conductor's Crescendo? No,
Mhm.
sorry.
You're good. You're good. In terms of genre, I personally like my favorite genre would probably be romance, but I sadly didn't get the chance to make that this time around. But I really like films that kind of have like a lot of like subtle animation or like maybe like a lot of internal conflict. And then those are a lot of inspiration to my film.
Mhm.
Yeah, you mentioned Fantasia. A little blasphemous, but I haven't watched Fantasia yet. But I've gotten so many comparisons to my film with that, and maybe I was a little bit like insecure in that sense as well. Like I'm sure like Disney did an amazing job with it. I've seen clips of it for sure. But a lot of other films that inspired Conductor's Crescendo for me, there's this film called Whiplash that I really
Mm,
Oh
enjoy.
yeah.
That one utilizes a lot of like yeah with the drumming, yeah, a lot
mhm.
of like really interesting like color theory and like a lot of shots that are like
Mm,
very like monochromatic, and that's something that I
mhm,
wanted to incorporate in my film as well. That director also
mm,
directed La La Land, and he uses that kind of same technique in that film as well. And then it also kind of includes a little bit of conducting in it as well. And another film that about conducting that I really liked was called Tar with Kate Blanchett, I believe. That
mhm.
one was also kind of like an obsessed artist conductor kind of feeling. I watched that
Yeah.
after I came up with the concept of my film, but it kind of helped like guide me a little bit more, like kind of deciding like what I wanted to say with my film.
Mm, yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Um, so I think I'm going to add a follow-up question here,
yeah,
and maybe I'm just going to think about it, how I'm going to phrase it very quickly. The question here is that because you mentioned these films like such as Whiplash and La La Land and Tar, right? I'm wondering, like, is there anything related to this, like the way that you're coming up with the concepts for both of your films, actually? was because both of you mentioned almost kind of a geographical location as part of that too. It almost seems geography seems to be very important in the way that you're conceiving of the concept, right? Like Ho Chi Minh City or maybe Southern California, right? I'm just wondering then, is the setting for you, like where you're the setting around you, does that and kind of lead to any inspiration for the way that you're also thinking about the settings in the films?
I can answer that first. In terms of setting, the setting was very important, I'd say, for me coming up with the concept of the film. The film itself was part of my senior thesis, and just coming up with like ideas of what I wanted to do for my senior thesis, I just wanted to make sure it was a film that I would enjoy making and making like a lot of like, I guess, beautiful art for it.
Hmm.
So I kind of got the idea of like looking at a lot of music halls and like orchestra halls, and I realized
Hmm.
that I would love to like make something that kind of happens in that kind of grand space. And
Yeah.
uh, I suppose like it could happen in Southern California. I didn't have like a specific place in mind for it. I went
Hmm.
to Boston a couple of years back, and then that was like a very big inspiration for kind of like just like the grand scale of like old buildings like that.
Yeah, but I also noticed at the end of Conductor's Crescendo, it went from this grand hall to then
Mhm.
a kind of a small, like the like a local auditorium, right?
Yeah.
And I was,
Mhm.
yeah, I wonder if that was based on anything that you had experienced or seen, or you're just kind of thinking about the contrast between the two.
Yeah. There wasn't anywhere in particular for that smaller like auditorium. I just kind of
Mhm.
looked at like smaller venues, but when I think of it, it kind of does look like the Frida Cinema, where like Viet
Oh,
Film Fest is held, but like no
oh,
shade to like that place. But yeah, like I'd say that smaller venue kind of represents like moving down from like trying to achieve something big, but like starting off somewhere small.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was very illuminating.
Yeah.
I think maybe okay.
Okay, I'm
So
back.
Trống, okay. Well, welcome back. So the question, I guess
Okay,
for the things that oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
about the setting, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the film is set in oh, this is my brother. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Okay, um, the film is set in Ho Chi Minh City. It's begin in Ho Chi Minh City, and I hope that I have chance to make a movie. So the the kids in the movie would travel around the world. So,
No.
but in Ho Chi Minh City, it's a busy and a noisy city. So
Hmm.
so I want to have a interesting setting like
Hmm.
usually you see a very noisy city, but in the post-apocalypse is totally quiet and
Hmm.
peaceful and a lot of green like tree and green air and yeah bird and a lot of other animal like
Yeah.
all around. So I want to have the kind of contract to bring a new look of Ho Chi Minh City into the film. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's why I begin that setting.
Hmm. Yeah, and something that I want to follow up on with Zombie is I noticed that at the beginning of the film, there's this, or the short, there's a kind of a narration with no clear speaker, and the setting seems to be like very post-apocalyptic, right? You can see buildings that are like run down. There's, I think, a lot of vines and trees are growing over them, and you see some like deer just walking around in the city. And then the narrator's talking about a potato chip, right? Like holding up a potato chip to the sky and talking about how the potato chip has expired, but it still tastes good. So, I mean, for
Yeah, yeah,
me, I have it, my interpretation of, maybe should I tell you my interpretation or ask you to talk about it? I mean, for me,
yeah.
I
It's
really thought that was post-apocalyptic. So yes,
yeah,
could I ask you
that's
more about
right.
that? Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, it's the opening of the short film is really kind of a very important moment in the bigger story. So I just want to bring that moment up to the
Mhm.
beginning. Um,
Yes.
so and the narrator is also the Mr. Potato Pie. Uh, yeah, and quite kind of it, it's long after the pandemic, the zombie happened, and everyone kind of get used to it and finds inner peace in the new world. And
Hmm.
that moment he has to decide to see if he want to live in this peaceful world, the new peaceful world, or
Mm.
he really want to make some action to to save the world, to bring the old people back. And
Mm.
but in the old world, like before apocalypse, um, it's is a world with a lot of pressure to them. So it's a very
Yeah.
it's a very important moment. So he have to choose between his inner peace and the other chance to live again. So we begin
Mm.
with a very important moment in the biggest story.
I see. So it is Mr. Potato.
Yeah, it is Mr. Potato.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry, I hope I didn't reveal any too many details through that question. Um, yes. So yeah, thank you for entertaining this question. So I guess that what I would like to ask the both of you now is a question regarding form, right? So I have a special interest in animation, doing some research on it, and so I guess sorry for this kind of theory-oriented question where what I'm seeing in this set is that a lot of the films are using various styles and techniques of animation. And I think I want to ask you about what kind of software you use or what kind of techniques you use to bring the animation to life, right? What was your process of deciding on a visual style and approach to your film? Whether it was hand-drawn sketches or different kinds of computer rendering or a blend, right? Sometimes I see a blend in this set. And why were you interested in using animation in particular for your concept? So maybe I'll ask Emily first,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Mhm. So in terms of form, I agree it's like very important, especially in terms of like character design. I really only have like two main characters for the film, and the main character Oliver, he's very like skinny and lanky, and like, he's supposed
Mhm.
to come off as a very insecure and maybe like unsure character. So
Mhm.
that was very intentional in his design. And there's a much older conductor who's very like short and sturdy, and he's supposed to represent a much more like confident version of a conductor. And in terms of visual style, I did go for a very like monochromatic like color scheme and everything. I think the color scheme is like very like straightforward when like things are like happy and good. It's very like
Yeah.
orange and bright, but when he's in a more like sad state of mind, it's very like blue and dark. And then
Mhm.
even the magic sequences, I try to show that with representing that in the color blue. So you
Mhm.
can see that
Yeah.
as well. Um, and I know that you mentioned, um, sorry, could you repeat like the latter half of your question?
Oh, yes. The latter half of my question was, why were you interested in using animation for your particular story concept?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as an animation student, like that's just like probably like my first go-to
Mhm.
form of media. I also for my
Mhm.
program I use Procreate, which is
Mhm.
like a pretty inexpensive program. I think it's like ranging from like $10 to $20 a one-time purchase for iPad. So it's a very
Mhm.
accessible like software that I like to use. It's not the
Mhm.
industry standard, but there's like so much that you can do with it. And around the time I started
Mhm.
my film, Procreate released like a Procreate like animation software specifically, so it's like more
Mhm.
focused for animation. So that was like a very like fortunate
Nice.
timing. And
Yeah.
because it was so accessible, I was able to bring in a lot of friends to help me like work on that film.
Mhm.
So they didn't have to like purchase like really expensive like softwares in order to help me. They could just like do the one time purchase and help me color or like ink some frames.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah, I
amazing.
also use Procreate in some part
Oh,
in my film too. So
yeah, that's so
yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell my students about that as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, yes, thank you, Emily. And then I do have some, I will have a follow-up question, but maybe since we're on this topic, yeah, Dong, so did you use you said you used Procreate for this film. Was that the exclusive platform, or did you use other software as well? And why were you interested, like what kind of what was your process of thinking about the visual style and approach to your film? Because I guess maybe specifically what I noticed about your film is that it is rendering it more in a 3D style, right? That recalls to me like films. I almost thought of the Lego films as a
Yeah.
reference, a little bit in terms of the motion and the characters, the character design. And I also thought about, yeah, a little bit. It also reminds me of stop motion animation a little bit, like traditional stop motion animation. Of course, I don't, that's not what's happening here. But could you tell us a little bit more about how you decided on this style?
Yeah, yeah. About this the style, I I love to make animation, and because of it's cost effective. Like my story is I said it begin in Ho Chi Minh City, but then go around the world. If I
Mm-hmm.
make in if I make a live action movie, it would be cost a lot. So so animation would be save a lot money for the production. And also I also use some cost-effective program like open source Blender and the other open source management system to make the film. So yeah, it's also about cost. And for the star, I choose some star that still look good, but it's still cost effective again. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
see in the shot, it's yeah, it's remind you a little bit about stop motion. It's because of the low frame rate. It's
Mm-hmm.
also
Yeah.
the hair is not very detailed hair like in the Pixar Disney animation nowadays, but it's the hair is so simple. It's just like a block of clay, so it's
Mm-hmm.
really push the process of render is faster. So
I
it's
see.
it's it's a way to build the kind of close to realistic situation in con for funding like for
Mhm.
the movie. So
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
and it's look good also.
Yeah, I mean, I love both of the visual styles in these films. I think they're very coherent, right? So, I think
Yeah.
the cost effective helped you finding a effective solution is to help you find like a particular visual approach, which made them extremely unique. So that's just my comment. Um,
Thank you.
okay. So following up with Emily, I did have a particular question related to some details I noticed from the beginning and throughout, is that there seemed to be a visual repetition or motif of snapping or cracking or breaking, like the baton was snapped, right? And that led to then the following sequences. And then, but also I noticed that I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the older man, the older conductor, but his glasses seemed broken at some point, and then they were fixed again. Or then even at the end in the auditorium, I noticed the brick wall also seemed to have like a crack in it. And I don't know if there was any kind of like thinking about all of these cracking, but I'm just curious about, for me, it really reminded me of like an internalized pressure, right? Because you were talking about earlier, there's like you were interested in that sort of theme. It's like that kind of internalized pressure or the maybe the ideals of perfection or trying again to even though you're working across lots of obstacles, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you can, yeah, tell us about the connections, if any, between the visualization of the cracking and also your story.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that is like um it was a little intentional and unintentional in some places, I'd say. But I would say that it does represent a lot of like breaking under pressure, like cracking under pressure.
Yeah.
In the end, with like the cracks in the wall, it's like kind of representing like imperfection in a sense, but
Mhm.
um, also in a sense where it's not necessarily a bad thing. Um,
Mhm.
it's okay to pursue something that you love even if you're not perfect at it, or yeah, if you can't achieve like the level that you want to be at. Yeah, I would say like those cracks in like the glasses and baton and the wall, like yeah, they kind of like have that cohesive theme of like cracking, breaking under pressure, and not being like good enough, but
Mhm.
you still have to keep going in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I thought that was so neat to sort of see that kind of repetition throughout.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you. I appreciate that, you know.
for Dong, I have like a maybe this is like a spoiler question. But well, I guess maybe first I'll make a comment. I tried to connect your films. I noticed also because there's something about your film. I wrote in my notes. I was like, oh, it kind of reminds me of The Breakfast Club, where all the Gen Z kids are stuck at school on a Saturday morning. They're complaining
Yeah,
about like having to fix this project that they broke.
yeah,
Sort of like they're in detention, Saturday detention, right? But then it comes on the zombie apocalypse, and it's just, I love it. It just really comes,
thank you.
yeah, like it just really mixes a lot of things and just very unexpected. But then, so that's one thing, and this is very interesting because I feel like there's also the way they talked about it, the dynamics between the students or the kids is like, oh, some of them are more physically capable, some of them seem, there's Mr. Potato, and then there's like the smart character. I think Yin is the smart character. No, not An. An is like
And yeah,
the smarter character, right? So I'm very interested in how you conceived of the characters, right? Because in this concept you even showed us like an introduction to all of them. So I guess that's the first part question is like, what are you thinking about in terms of creating this cast of characters? Um, and then especially thinking about a younger generation.
okay.
Yes, and yeah,
Okay,
so that's my
it's
question.
uh the character, like the human character, is kind of I want to create a bunch of kind of loser kids. Like they not do really well in school. Um, and especially I have the potato, Mr. Potato. It's kind of a
Mhm.
metaphor. Like you are what you eat. And also for some young guys, we usually call the guy that's tasteless, have nothing to do in life, and kind of useless, is a potato, like a potato couch. So, but 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 actually, a potato have emotion, right? Like
Mhm.
he's also a human, a kid. He also want to be important somehow. So yeah, that is kind of a metaphor character, and the rest is the kids that we can somehow see ourselves if inside one of those kids, like a very smart character, um, but he want to do more, or a very physical capability, but she don't know how to express her emotion, or
Mhm.
um, a boy with a lot of he think he's smart, but he not really smart, but he really
Mhm.
want to do something to prove that he's useful. So so
Mhm.
I try to make a cast of you can see a bunch of not very bright kids. They are not so special. They're not superhero, but somehow they try and they save the world. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because a big part of the tension in this short is that they're trying to figure out how to fire the gun, this
Yeah,
historical relic together, right? So it's very much
yeah,
a
that's
team
true.
effort. Yeah. So I really see that kind of a united theme between these two films is like this kind of like trying to improve or maybe like feeling very ordinary, right? And not like not super not what's the opposite of ordinary? Not like a superhuman, right? But really just working on that and like whether it's with others or giving it some time and then also acknowledging that time needs to pass, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for the both of you. Yeah. Sorry, Emily, did you want to say something?
Oh no, yeah. I just like also wanted to mention to Tuan, I really like that you made a film that focuses on Gen Z. As someone who's like Gen Z, you know, it's really nice that there's like kind of an older generation that's like also looking out for us. Because I think that sometimes the older generation can be a little bit harsh on the younger generation. I see that also with like how Gen Z is treating Gen Alpha also. So I feel like it's just like a repeating cycle, you know. So yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that you made a film like kind of like supporting us, you know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have maybe just a wrap-up question for the two of you. So, and then thank you, Emily, for bringing up because I think you just graduated recently, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Or and then so I'm curious about so this was a film that you worked on as a student. So this is very much like a early work. I guess it's a two-part question for anyone in the audience who might be a student or is thinking about taking on learning about animation, do you have any advice and tips for how to get started in learning animation or even just learning how to make films? And then that's the first part question. And then the second part question is, what's next? In
Yeah.
terms of, yeah, what
Mm,
anything else that's on the horizon, creative or otherwise. So I want to
yeah.
ask both of you this.
Mhm. Um, for students interested in animation, there's like really so many routes that they can go through. It could be like the conventional, like going to university and pursuing like an animation degree, but there's like so many resources online these days where you don't even need to go to
Mm,
school in order to like learn animation. Really, like it just takes like learning the foundation skills of like learning human anatomy and like shading and all of that. And like animation, like it's very like open to everyone as a medium. Like it doesn't
mhm.
you don't have to even have like the best drawing skills. Like as long as you can like tell your story and like it doesn't have to have the best like frame rate either. Um I'd say like just go for it. Yeah. And like tell your
Mhm.
story the way that you want to tell it. Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you so
Um,
much, Emily.
yeah.
And what's next?
Oh yeah, what's next?
Mhm.
And my friends and I were thinking about revisiting a film that we started like as a group project a couple years ago. That was called Bride on
Mm,
Time, and that's like a lot more
mm,
like a lot more like fun, kind of comedic rom com vibe, where it's just like a bride to be tries to get to her wedding on time, like on the other side of
mm.
town, and everything. It's a lot more like action comedy, and I'm hoping to
Yeah.
revisit that. And like I also have like a concept for I'm working on a concept for like a feature length film, but who knows when I'll be able to like touch that. But I hope to maybe like come back to Viet Film Fest one day to present that film.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that would be welcome. So,
I love that. Mhm.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
How
thank you.
about you, Dong? Yeah.
Um, yeah, I worked in animation industry for quite a long time. So yeah, I'll share my point of view about making animation. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I agree. Like with Emily, we just go for it. Um, but for the kind of professional way in Vietnam is a little bit harder. For now, we have
mm,
no successful animation feature film in Vietnam yet.
mm,
We have some success YouTube series, but it's different kind of animation. It's more about quantity than quality. So,
mm,
but I see that in Vietnam, for me, my point of view about the market, not just about artistic. Um, we really want to see more quality animation for the Vietnam market, and also the outside Vietnam market, the international market. The success of Flow, like the cat, uh, the
Yeah.
animation. Have you seen it? Yeah,
Yeah,
Flow.
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to
It's
do
kind it's a kind of indie movie, which is 3.5
Yes.
million US in budget, that
Yeah.
won the Oscar. So people really want to see some more idea, fresh point of view from um, other side in the world, not
Hmm.
just from Hollywood. So yeah, it's also a time for to really try hard to get uh, have more professional in term of idea, in term of quality of the story. So please, if you guys, anyone out there want to follow animation, be prepared that it's not easy, but
Mm.
it should be really interesting, and yeah, we still have chance to make something big. I think so. That's why I still follow this industry for more than 10 years. So
Yeah. Thank you for
thank you.
sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you like to share what's next on the horizon for you? I know part of it is developing Zombie Matlock further, right?
Yeah. Make it a trilogy.
Mm.
Yeah, it's my plan to make it a trilogy movie. So
Mm,
I hope so. Yes.
that's great. Well, I hope that there will be supporters in the audience. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to the both of you for your advice regarding like, yeah, how to think about animation, how to get started. I know it can be very daunting. And I think those in the audience and future students and future animators would very appreciate very much to, yeah, hear your take on this. Yeah. So do you have any more remaining comments or notes you want to make here or questions you want to ask each other? That's it for me on my end.
Yeah. I think I'm good. Again, like thank you, Thun, for making that kind of movie. I'm
Thank
very
you.
excited to see it.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So then I'll just wrap up. So thank you to Emily and Phuong for being here for this Q&A to drawn to the screen. So for everyone, please remember that VFF at Home continues through October 19th. So please take a look at the rest of what we have on this virtual platform. On behalf of Vala and Viet Film Fest, I'm Dr. Linda Zhang. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.